The jungle canopy swallowed the helicopter whole, vines snaking through shattered windows like grasping fingers. Rain lashed against the fuselage, a relentless percussion that matched the frantic hammering of a heart against ribs. This was not a place for the living, yet the coordinates pulled them deeper into the green abyss where logic frayed at the edges. Whispers spoke of a structure untouched by time, a relic holding answers that could drown the world in truth. Why did the maps go blank here? What force consumed every expedition that drew near? A single stone step breached the earth near the riverbank, carved from granite that defied the jungle's rot. Water lapped at its base, swollen and brown with silt washed from slopes unseen. Centuries of storms had gnawed at the step's edges, yet could not erase the symbols etched deep within its surface. They pulsed under torchlight, not with magic, but with a terrifying familiarity. Civilizations, separated by oceans and millennia, had drawn these same spirals, these same waves. The coincidence felt less like chance and more like a warning etched in stone. Maps from the British Museum archives revealed a pattern no scholar dared voice aloud. Dots marked flood myths across continents, from the cedar forests of Lebanon to the arid plains of Mexico. Each spoke of torrential rains, of waters that swallowed mountains, of a world scoured clean. These were not isolated stories born of local floods. They were fragments of a shattered mirror reflecting one cataclysm. The sheer consistency chilled the blood. How could cultures with no contact share such a memory? What primordial terror bound them to this narrative? The river's current quickened without warning, tugging at boots with surprising strength. One moment the water reached mid-calf, the next it threatened to drag explorers under. No storm raged overhead. No landslide thundered in the distance. The surge felt targeted, intelligent, a river remembering its ancient fury. Men scrambled for higher ground, slipping on mud-slick rocks as the torrent clawed at their legs. It retreated as abruptly as it came, leaving behind not just debris, but a single artifact half buried in the bank, a clay tablet depicting a wave dwarfing a ziggurat. The river gave up its secrets like a reluctant witness. Whispers followed the team through the nearest village, a cluster of stilt houses where eyes watched from shadowed doorways. Elders spoke of the Great Hunger, a season when the river became a sea and the old gods wept. They spoke of the Silent Ones too, figures who arrived after the waters receded, offering food while collecting every carving, every scroll that spoke of the flood. Those who resisted vanished, those who spoke of the visitors. Arrival died of fevers that burned unnatural bright. The pattern repeated across continents, a century-spanning purge of memory conducted with chilling efficiency. Knowledge became the most dangerous possession. Geological surveys near the Black Sea revealed an anomaly. Sediment cores showed a layer of saltwater clay devoid of life, sandwiched between freshwater deposits. Radiocarbon dating placed the inundation around 5,600 BCE. The date matched the flooding of the Persian Gulf Basin and the drowning of the Sundaland Shelf. This was no local disaster. It was a global reshuffling of coastlines that drowned civilizations in their infancy. Yet these findings slept in obscure journals, buried beneath layers of academic skepticism. Why did the establishment dismiss a convergence of evidence that pointed to a singular, world-altering event? The temple complex emerged from the mist-shrouded highlands, not as ruins, but as a fortress against the drowned world. Cyclopean stones, fitted without mortar, formed walls plunging into a chasm. Waterfalls cascaded from heights that scraped the clouds, feeding a river that coiled through the complex like a serpent. This was not a place of worship. It was a refuge, a sanctuary built by survivors who understood the ocean's wrath. They had carved not gods, but maps into the walls, maps showing coastlines that no longer existed, archipelagos swallowed whole. The implications were staggering. These people had possessed knowledge that modern science claimed took millennia to accumulate. How had they known? Venturing into the heart of the complex meant navigating passages where the air hummed with residual energy. Lights flickered in the depths, blue and cold, emanating from crystals embedded in the stone. Each step echoed with whispers that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Fragments of conversations held in a dozen dead languages. One explorer touched a pulsating crystal. The surge threw him backward, not with force, but with a vision. A wall of water, infinite and hungry, roaring over the mountains. He saw cities vanish in seconds, saw the terror on faces that mirrored his own. The vision passed, leaving him gasping, but the crystal now lay dark. Some doors, it seemed, opened only for the price of sanity. The deepest chamber lay behind a door carved with a warning, a wave consuming the stars. It required not force, but blood. A single drop from each explorer opened the seal, the stone drinking the offering with a soft sigh. Inside, the air was cold and still. In the center stood a pedestal holding a single object, a seed cone from a tree extinct for 10,000 years, perfectly preserved. Genetic testing would later reveal markers identical to species from continents now separated by oceans. This seed had ridden the floodwaters, carried in the ark that rested somewhere in these mountains. The scale of the endeavor humbled the mind. How many species had they saved? How many generations had tended to this vault of life? A moment of revelation arrived not with fanfare, but with suffocating silence. Seismic sensors planted weeks earlier detected tremors rippling through the bedrock, tremors that matched the signature of massive floodgates opening. The complex was not merely a refuge. It was a dam holding back an ocean trapped in a subterranean basin. The weight of that water had been held for eons. Now, something had triggered its release. Alarms blared, red lights strobing through the corridors as the river outside began to boil. The team fled upward, the roar of collapsing stone and rushing water chasing them through the passages. One wrong turn, one crumbling stair, and the mountain would become their tomb. Survival felt like a betrayal of the secret they carried. The floodgates sealed shut with earth-shaking finality. But the damage was done. The lower levels were drowned anew, burying the seed vault and the crystal archives under kilometers of water. Only half the team reached the surface, lungs burning, minds scarred by the visions of a drowning world. They spoke of what they found, showed the images, presented the data. Yet the world shrugged. Media cycles moved on. Governments denied involvement. The site vanished from satellite feeds overnight, buried under landslides that looked suspiciously engineered. The cover-up continued, smoother now, using digital tools instead of silenced witnesses. Some truths, it seemed, were too vast for the modern mind to hold. Villagers downstream spoke of the river running clear again after the tremors, of fish they had not seen in generations appearing in the shallows. Life persisted, resilient, forgetting. Yet the highlands remained off-limits, patrolled by unmarked drones and corporate mercenaries. The complex slept beneath the water, its secrets preserved in cold darkness. Every attempt to return, met with equipment failure or sudden policy changes. The mountain guarded its dead and its knowledge fiercely. Perhaps it understood the danger of memory. We stand on coastlines that are graves, build cities upon the bones of drowned metropolises. The oceans rise again, not with divine wrath, but with the slow inevitability of a truth too long ignored. The question is not whether the flood happened. It is whether we recognize the water rising around our own ankles. Will we build arks of knowledge, or will we let the tide wash away the stories that could save us? The silence from the highlands is not empty. It is watchful, and it is waiting.